Hey guys, Brian here, Stogie Review, IPCPR 2017. I'm here with Fred Rewey. You know him from Nomad Cigars.
Hey,
and from his numerous amusing Facebook posts. The constant stream of jokes. It's a stand-up routine.
It is.
Socially,
it is.
basically.
It is, but without having to go anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we
From
we
the convenience
also,
of your own phone.
Exactly. And we're not paying you a cent for it, so that's nice, right? That worked out well?
Wait, what?
Yeah. You didn't know about this?
I just thought everybody was late for the checks.
Okay.
So.
It's totally in the mail. Don't worry about it. It's good. So, what's new? What's happening?
You know what? It's 5 years now. So, I mean, I'm pretty excited. I mean, everything's pretty much, I don't want to say autopilot, but you know the game.
You're
you know
phoning it in. Is that
no,
what
yeah,
you're saying?
I'm totally phoning it in. No, you know the game. You know what you have to do. People come to the show and it's mixed reviews as far as oh, it was a great show, it was a horrible show, and I mean, the results of the show is basically based on how you conduct your business the entire year. So this has always been a good show for me. I mean, I think most of the shows have always been better than the last, or right in line. So, in 5 years, we came out with a couple things different this year. We had the release to celebrate the 5 years. We released the anniversary edition, if you will, of the classic line in Navigator and Vagabond sizes. And basically, it's a 5-year-old cigar. It's been been sitting that long. And I'd like to say that it was like completely planned out. And like when I started, I'm like, I'm going to hold these back in 5 years when I have a party, and we're going to release these. It'd be totally lying. Basically, I thought round torpedoes would be big. I thought short perfectos might be pretty good. And everything else in that particular line has maintained a certain production schedule. And those two just ended up being, we had some about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, we realized that, we got to reboost this. Well, how much is left? So it really just couldn't matter. You know what? We're within like a year and a half window, or whatever it was, 14 months. It's like, let's just hold these back, go ahead and maintain the other production, and let's release them at the show next year. And so that's what we released this year. So those two sizes, actually 5-year-old cigars, rolled and been sitting 5 years. Plus, obviously got 3-4-year-old tobacco in there anyway. Yeah. So they're smoking really, really good. So if you like Dominican cigars, but you want, someone's already aged it for you on my dime, not yours.
Nice. I like this.
Yeah. Well, and it's, everybody's like, well, how come you didn't charge more? And I'm like, probably should have, but I just it's kind of like a Walmart rollback pricing. I'm like, I'm just going to leave it at the same price we originally launched them for.
So once all those checks come in from the Facebook jokes, you won't need the money anyway.
No,
right?
yeah. No, look, nobody gets into the boutique industry for the money. Trust me. We love cigars. We love what we've done. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's 5 years. I was talking about the other day at dinner. We were all talking about where everybody was phase-wise, and I mean, it was one blend, one cigar in 2012. And it was really late 2012 before we ever really go, okay, let's go ahead and make a game of it. And now it's 16 blends, 47 SKUs.
Wow.
3 different factories, depending on what we're doing. I mean, the majority of it is pretty much, especially in the Nicaraguans, out of AJ Fernandez. So we've got a new release coming out in October, which is Fin De Los Mundos. So it'll be widespread, if you will. And pretty excited about that. It's the strongest cigar that I've ever put out, Pennsylvania broadleaf.
Nice.
It's interesting as I got into the more Maduros and things like that, the amount of aging it takes is much, much longer than a Connecticut or Ecuadorian Habano. I mean, for the longest time, Ecuadorian Habano was kind of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
8613. Martial Law was out last year, which is really just kind of an amped up version of the 8613. But it comes out as a completely different cigar. So I wanted to market it and use that reference and say, well, hey, if you like 8613 but you want something a little bit stronger, do the Martial Law. But the tweaks to the blend, which is the removal of jalapa and things like that, and then the addition of Esteli Ligero. So 8613 only has Candega Ligero. The Martial Law has Candega and Esteli Ligero. And that tweak and then tweaking the blend ended up being a much more full-bodied cigar, much more powerful. So I couldn't use that reference. From a blender's perspective, it was really just some simple adjustments, but from a consumer perspective, it wasn't.
Taste perspective.
Yeah. And then oddly enough, so like last year we did the Candela, the GB19 for the Green Bay Packer tribute, and so in the beginning of this year, after football season, I released it outside Wisconsin, and it's gone really like Candelas are like making a comeback, and there's like 4 Candelas out there that I can think of offhand, myself included, that we took a Candela, and I think, I meant there's only one of the blenders I haven't talked to the other one, what their thought process was, because Candelas for me, the reason it was obviously I wanted it green, so it made sense for the Packers, but it's also that blender challenge. It's like, okay, you think you can blend now? Here you go. Here's a Candela. Have fun.
Yeah, make this into something I want to
this
smoke.
Good. Yeah, exactly what it was. So for me, I mean, what I don't like about a candela is what most people don't like. It's that, super grassy, takes over the blend, takes over everything else. So so I'm like, okay, well, what's the balance of spice? How can we spice it? And I wanted the cigar wrapper greener, and it's still green. It's obviously a candela, but for every shade we went more green, then it just got way too grassy. So I'd been playing with it for about a year and a half. Then I actually went over to Black Label to Ovea Negra to do their factory, which was we were doing martial law. So I'm like, well, you know what? Let's take a stab at the candela here. What do you got? What are we playing with? And James at the factory actually had some pretty good input on that. And so as we got farther into it, he's like, he calls me at one point. He's like, or sends me a message like, I think I cracked the candela code. And I'm like, I'm listening. So we started playing in a different direction, and I was really, really pleased. So I actually have to give him some credit on the help on that, because he kind of thought of a different way we could balance it. So then once we started going down that road, it was really tasty. But it's odd is that since I've opened it up nationwide, the candelas are just they just keep increasing in sales, and it's just because it's a different candela. Yeah. I mean, so I think, and I've actually seen at the show a couple other guys coming out with candelas now. So
seen at least one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that there's going to be a little bit of a resurgence there. If you don't like candelas or historically haven't, and you can find the GB19, I would definitely say try it, because it's not. What I wanted to do is I actually literally wanted to have guys in a lounge, blindfold them, have them smoke the cigar, and go tell me what that cigar is. And I'm not sure how many really would have picked up on candela, because it's not what you think.
It's important before you do that that you let them know you're going to blindfold them, because I'm sure they'll be as helpful.
Oh,
yeah. If you
that's good advice. Actually, that kind of explains an incident earlier. So yeah, that's a good point.
Got to warn them I'm going to blindfold you, and then stuff something in your mouth. I'm sorry.
This interview is like completely gone off track now. So I mean, with all the blends, I mean now it's really, and I said this really about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I'm really at a comfort level in the amount of blends I have, so I don't have the pressure. And this was true 2 years ago, and even more so now. I don't feel the pressure to have to put out something. It's like there's not a gap in my portfolio. If you like mild. Man, I think the Connecticut Forte is one of the best damn Connecticut's out there. I'll put it against any other Connecticut. It's a Dominican cigar, a little bit of Nicaraguan Ligero to give it flavor. The mild guy likes it because he's getting a little bit more flavor. The guys like myself, when I blended it, that had given up on Connecticut because there's absolutely no flavor whatsoever, we're smoking them, they're bland, are like, wow, okay, I can smoke this. This has got some flavor to it. So, whether you start on that end of the spectrum or you go all the way to the San Andres, the SA-17, or the Martial Law, or the C276. So I just feel like I don't have those gaps now. And so the blending sessions now are a little different. You're playing with some different things, you're playing with some different strategies, but it's a very good comfort level at this point.
Good. So about the newer ones the new ones you just brought out, and also the one you said that was coming out, I think you said October?
The Fin De Los Mundos is actually coming out. It's a black box right here. So that's going to come out, 4 sizes, Pennsylvania broadleaf. It's actually 3 different countries, Dominican tobacco in it, Nicaraguan tobacco, and Pennsylvania broadleaf. Okay. So we've covered it. So the name Fin De Los Mundos means end of the worlds. Yeah. Okay. So and then these two over here, the Vagabond and Navigator, were the ones where we had in the aging room, and they're both, like I said, they're both 5-year-old. It's nice. I love Dominican cigars. Everybody's like, oh, you gotta like either Dominican, you like Nicaraguan. I like all cigars, quite frankly. It's what are you in the mood for? Where's your palate at? I think that a lot of the cigar geeks that are the most vocal are definitely tend to be more Nicaraguan. Like the guys in the lounge are more Nicaraguan. The guys that online, really doing write-ups and posts and chat, Reddit and places like that, going back and forth. Definitely kind of more the Nicaraguan, Honduran than they are Dominican. Sure. But the Dominican has certain qualities and attributes that you just can't get out of Nicaraguan tobacco for me. I think Nicaragua, for me, when I'm talking about spices and things like that, and I think once Nicaragua learned to blend, to tone down the spice level, if they all weren't spice bombs, created some amazing blends out of there. What I have not been able to do, and I'm going to get a ton of crap about this once this goes live, because I'll get manufacturers saying that's not true. For me personally, that's my disclaimer, I find some of the aromas out of the Dominican cigars to be a very different level than what I get out of the Nicaraguan cigars. The floral notes and stuff that can come out of Dominican cigars are amazing. If you get a good quality aged Dominican cigar, they're magic. I mean, I just think they're really, really good. And there are quite a few really good manufacturers in Dominican Republic that I think have some outstanding stuff.
You're over here bucking the trend, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
That's blasphemy, sir. That's
yeah,
blasphemy.
no, I mean, there's some great stuff. I mean, I'm a big fan of Casada. You know, a lot of stuff he does. Guillermo, I think, has got some fabulous stuff that's just underrated that people kind of walk by and miss out on.
I hadn't thought about it, but that floral angle, yeah. I mean, aroma-wise, and I know from talking to Guillermo Leon that his cigars are very much, you retrohale, you have to take that into effect. If you're not getting the whole cigar.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So when I do the Hacking the Blend seminars, I'm surprised, so we'll have 30, 40 people, and I'll always ask, well, who retrohales, and like you'll get a couple hands up, and like, okay, who doesn't know what retrohaling is? And then you get like almost half of the hands up.
And then you say, get out.
Yeah, no. So we walk through it, and we retrohale the cigars. And actually, there's two points I make there. And one's to your point is one is I talk about, when I'm blending, it's essential to figure out, because it helps me predict where the tobacco is going to go later.
Yeah.
And then when you start talking about hidden attributes, particularly when I actually bring up Dominican cigars, floral notes and things like that really come out in a retrohale. That if you're not retrohaling, I definitely suggest you try it.
You're missing out.
What's that?
Can you show us?
Well, I think the cigar went out. It's my cigar went out.
Yeah, well.
Brian will actually be demoing it right now.
Mine went out too. It's
beautiful.
simple as that.
We should slow motion that.
Yeah.
No, so all it is basically you're taking a small amount of smoke into your mouth, close your mouth, force it out through your nose. But you get flavors that you just don't know what's in the tobacco. And the way I talk is everybody's like, well, we're smoking, it's all mouth oriented, that's where the flavor is, and we don't get anything really through the nose. And like my argument to that is like, so how good is food when you have a cold? Because your taste buds are still there, they're still working, but when you can't smell, when you don't get that other input, even if you're not retrohaling, just in general, you're getting little bits of smoke through your nose.
Yeah.
That's part of the experience, and retrohaling isolates that experience. And you're able to go, wow, I didn't realize there's a little bit of white peppery kind of thing in here, or whatever it may be. And so, particularly, like I said, in the Dominican cigars, the floral notes and stuff come out of there are amazing.
And the way I did it was kind of clumsy. I blasted a lot more through my nose because I was under pressure. I'm in front of the camera, but I typically blow a little of it out so I get just the right amount of smoke. So if you do all of it, you'll get a peppery blast in your nose. I like to let a little, just some out, not the full blast of it, because
And if
you will never smell anything again if you do that.
Yeah, and if you're going to try this at home, what I recommend is get the strongest possible cigar you can.
Yes.
Take in a really big amount, and then I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
And then have somebody throw pepper in your face. Yeah.
No, but it is. I do it on every cigar at some point, a couple times during the smoke, just to kind of kick that flavor back in, that profile through there, and that aroma. And like I said, it's essential on the blending for me, because it helps me predict what attributes later will come down the line. And that's what helps. Like, so a lot of my cigars have aged very well, and in the beginning it was completely dumb luck. I mean, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Later, when I understood, at the blending table of, okay, what do I think this is going to marry into be, what it's going to be as it ages, that's really panned out pretty good.
Yeah, it's so an important element. So in terms of these, before we forget about the price points, what are we looking at?
Everything in the Nomad
consumers?
line, with the exception of martial law, is under $10 MSRP.
All of it under 10.
So I didn't change any of the prices on anything. We're probably going to have a price increase. I've never increased prices on anything. I'm probably going to have a small price increase in August this year. And honestly,
up now.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's everybody's doing it because of the FDA, but mine's really related. In 5 years, I've never raised the price, and tobacco's more expensive right now. And I've really just been eating that on the margin for so long that at some point you got to have a little bit of a bump.
So full of margin.
I am so full of margin. I mean, I'd like, oh God, no more margin, please. No, so it's just it's going to be a small bump on some of it, but. And barring the FDA screwing everything up.
What are your thoughts on the FDA?
I think. Obviously, we all think it's the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't get the grandfather date. I mean, okay, say this cigar, you're all good, it's no big deal. This cigar, everybody after this date, you're all evil. I think we're gonna win. I think we're in for a battle. I think the people that think that, hey, because as of right now, we've got 2 significant lawsuits, one towards the end of the month, one next month. And I think everybody thinks they're going to wake up and go, hey, okay, we won and, everything's business as usual. I think we're really in for about an 18-month battle still. I think it's just going to be another extension, maybe, and I said it here and it could be completely wrong, but I think probably within 60 days, we might get a bump back of all dates by a year.
Okay.
And just to give everybody breathing room. And I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. I'm guessing as much as everybody. There are people you can go here and ask that are way smarter than me and way more in the know, but that's just my guess on it. Based on the fact that the FDA's moving things, it's completely, forget about the concept of it, the aspect of taking these blends and going over what's called substantial equivalence, proving it's like a cigar that they've already grandfathered. Their whole process is not even there. And the hardship it puts on the boutique to the point where they may be looking for lab results on, give me the makeup of the cigars and these lab results, give me the makeup of the band, give me the makeup of the cello, give me the makeup of the box. Yeah. So it's overwhelming on a product that, quite frankly, is not an illegal product. Yeah. Now, from an FDA standpoint, and again, I'll probably hear flack about this, you want to test my cigar, you want me to send my cigars to you, and you test them to make sure that I don't have a foreign ingredient that's not supposed to be in there. So, I don't know, cocaine, whatever it may be, insecticides, whatever. If you want to test it for that, I'm on board. To me, that's the FDA's job. But again, not an illegal product.
Exactly.
It's a premium,
Consenting
hand-rolled,
adults,
consenting adults, yeah.
Spend ridiculous amounts of their money to acquire it.
And I think as an industry, we can argue the health argument all we want, but at the end of the day, again, not an illegal product. And you can say, well, there's this aspect of health or not. It's never an argument you're going to win. And you can take any product. You can argue, well, is coffee healthy for you? Is wine healthy for you? Is bacon healthy for you? Yes, bacon is healthy for you.
Yeah.
But you're never going to win that argument. To me, it's a freedom issue. It's a responsible adult issue. And I can also argue from a stress standpoint. I think the leading killer among men is like stress. Well, I don't know how many times I've smoked a cigar at the end of the day and calm down, and I haven't gone and killed somebody because I'm like, okay, I'm calm now.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of benefit to that.
I think it's a valid point. A lot of people argue it, but it's hard to quantify the stress relief aspect of the whole thing. So it's